In my humble opinion, the best bang for your buck point and shoot film camera isn't actually a point and shoot at all. It's one of these. So if you're just getting into film photography, you're probably thinking of picking up something like this. Honestly, I wouldn't bother. Yes, it looks cool and you can flex that you've got one on TikTok or wherever it is that the youth are hanging out these days, but they are so overpriced. Like, this can run you like £300 in the UK. I think the not. That's like 300 packs of Sour Patch Kids. Like, that's enough to guarantee diabetes. Now, this does everything that this camera does. It's still fully automatic, so you don't need to know anything about photography to use it. It has autofocus, but it also comes with all the extra benefits of being a super simplified SLR setup that you can swap lenses with. And oh, did I mention it costs about £285 less than the Olympus Mu 2? So I've had this camera for years, used it for a bunch of different stuff, work, traveling around, whatever. If someone asked me what's the best point and shoot film camera I've ever used, this is probably it. It might look a little bit different to what you're expecting a point and shoot film camera to look like, but don't be so judgmental. It's rude. So I'm going to cut right to the chase. This right here is a Minolta Dynax 3000i. Oh my god, I got the name right without looking at it. Yeah! Seriously, like, why do cameras have such unhinged names? Like the Minolta Dynax 505 SI. Great camera. What is with that name? Camera companies are just out here naming cameras like famous people name their kids. Anyway, this is a Minolta Dynax 3000i, and it's basically a roughly £15 point and shoot, except you can change lenses on it too. Sick, right? But there's also way more to it than that. Let me tell you why I think this is a better way to spend your money than buying one of those overpriced, trendy ludu compacts, because they are quote-unquote aesthetic. And you gotta tap them with your hands like this as well when you make TikTok videos about them. Can we stop that? What is that? It just makes me feel unreasonably angry. Is it just me? Or is the noise of the tappy thing just... Reason number one, this thing is cheap. If you are just getting into film photography, if there is one thing that you're going to learn about old film cameras that are older than you and I, it is that they are liable to break. Often without any kind of warning at all, which is nice, isn't it? And so dropping 1.6 actual £1,000 on a Contax T2, good lord, is anyone actually buying these things? It might be worth considering the whole film cameras are old and they might break thing. In short, if you're just getting into film photography, the £15 one might be a better place to start. Unless you are famous, and then you're obviously just going to buy the Contax T2 and put it all over your Instagram account. The famous people getting into film photography handbook seems to say somewhere that you have to buy a Contax T2 and tell everyone that you've bought it. Unfortunately, I am neither rich nor famous, so I also don't have any dead relatives that were rich either. So yeah, I'm probably not going to buy a Contax T2. All right, reason number two, you might want to buy one of these instead of giving some dickhead £300 for a camera from the 90s. You can swap the lenses. So instead of just buying a camera, you're buying into a whole ecosystem rather than just buying one camera, which, as I've just mentioned, might just break. The Minolta AF mount ecosystem, to be precise. Some of the best 35mm film cameras of all time have the Minolta AF mount, and the lenses that you buy for this camera can come along on your entire photography journey as you upgrade through the Minolta ecosystem should you want to. Also, being able to swap the lenses means that you can have a lot of fun with focal lengths like a fisheye lens, for example. You could use a zoomy boy telephoto like a telescope. Ahoy there, fellow seamen! Or you could even throw a really nice prime lens on the front of this camera if you want to get all fancy like. Bonus point here too, should the Minolta Dynax 3000i break, you only need to replace the camera body. You can keep all your lenses and take them onto your next camera. Cost effective. I feel like the whole thing of this video is because I don't have rich family. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just being cheap. Now, speaking of prime lenses, that brings me quite nicely onto being able to change your aperture. Aperture is basically just a fancy word for how much light you're letting through your lens and how much of your image is in focus. Now, because you can swap the lenses out, you can put killer lenses on this camera. Like this 50mm f1.4 lens, for example. For anyone who's like, I don't know what those numbers mean, it just means that the camera can let in a lot of light if it wants to, which is good. It's not an expensive lens at all, and for low light stuff, this will massively outperform pretty much any point and shoot lens. So you're more likely to come away with an actual photo that is visible, because if you can't get enough light on your film, you can kiss goodbye to that entire roll of film full of photos of your dog, which is sad because I want to see the photos of your dog. Now, another one of the big benefits to using an SLR type camera like this is that what you see through the viewfinder, the bit you point your eyeball at, is exactly what you will see on your photo in terms of where you have put everything in that frame. There's a mirror in this camera right where the lens goes. Boop. Don't do that. This mirror means that you are getting a real-time view of what your camera lens is seeing. Now, a lot of point and shoots, due to their construction, will have the viewfinder slightly off to one side, so you're not actually seeing your actual framing. And so often your compositions will look slightly off when you end up seeing the photo, and it can be a pain. You can also get some way more powerful, super cheap flash units for this camera. These are great if you want to get that hard flash disposable sort of film look, all fully automatic too, so you don't need to know how the flash works or anything like that. You can just let this thing rip and it is an instant vibe machine. And finally, for the positives of this camera, we'll move on to the negatives next. I'm not biased, there are negatives. Finally, for the positives, it gives you room to grow. As a photographer, you can just rip this as a point and shoot forever if you want, like you would any other point and shoot. But should you want to learn a bit more about composition and different focal lengths and how it affects an image and all that sort of really cool, gnarly, interesting stuff, and then when you want to graduate to a camera with more control, you can pick up something like this that gives you automatic modes and manual modes as well. And just take your Minolta A-mount lenses with you. Beautiful. Okay, let's talk about the negatives of buying this point and shoot camera over a more traditional point and shoot camera like this. I need to remember that there's like an almost finished roll in this. I need to not press any of the buttons. So let's address the elephant in the room. The first thing that comes to mind when you think of point and shoot cameras, and probably the thing that you've been screaming at the screen for probably the entirety of this video, and that is that this camera isn't pocketable like some of the smaller point and shoot cameras. Well, actually it is pocketable if you have big pockets, but honestly, who even gives a shit about fitting a camera in a pocket? Like, why is this the metric people bring up before dropping nearly $2,000 on a Contax? Are you really gonna put that insanely expensive camera in your pocket? I don't get it. I don't get why this thing about being able to fit a camera in a pocket is like such a big deal. I've literally never met anyone in my life who carries their camera in their pocket, just in the pocket of their jeans. I don't get why this is even a thing. It's like when people say that Ringo is their favourite Beatle. We know it's bollocks, but somehow we let them get away with saying it. I mean, real talk. This camera, compared to like the Olympus Mu 2, for example, this isn't taking up £285 worth of space, in my opinion, if you know what I'm saying. But this is just my opinion on it. You might agree with me, you might think I am absolutely 100% wrong, let me know in the comments. But at the end of the day, I am just some guy on the internet with a camera saying some things. It's important that you make up your own mind about these things. It is your money after all. But if there is one thing to take away from this video, let it be this: do not stretch yourself financially thinking you have to buy a popular trendy film camera to get into film photography. You absolutely do not. Buy what works for you and your budget and have some fun with it. I don't think technically anyone's PP has ever actually gained any inches from owning a Leica, so I wouldn't sweat it. Coincidentally, I am looking at putting a bunch of my photos up on the wall in the office here. There's just loads of space like over here. There's just a big gap and I want to fill it with my photos. And one of the first ones that I'm getting done is this one, and I shot that on this £12 eBay camera. It had like the standard kit lens on it as well. This is one of my favourite photos I've ever taken on film. Love it so much. Do with that information what you will. Make good decisions, kids. Anyway, thanks for being here. It's good to see you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like it. Consider subscribing to the channel for more film photography stuff like this. I've actually got some cool trips coming up. I'm off to Amsterdam soon. That's going to be a laugh. I'm teetotal. I've been sober for like 8 years and I'm engaged. So there's not a lot for me in Amsterdam, really. But we're going. It's going to be sick. We're off to a gig. So yeah, there's a reason for us being there, but I'm going to shoot a bunch of YouTube stuff while I'm there as well. So very excited. If you've been to Amsterdam, Amsterdam. Feel free to hit me up with any suggestions in the comments or places I should be shooting film photos, or just drop me a message on Instagram or whatever. Always great to hear from you. And yeah, let me know in the comments, would you buy a point and shoot like this? Because by definition, this is a point and shoot. You point it, you shoot it. It just doesn't look like one. I think it's sick. What do you think? Would you buy something like this? Let me know. Anyway, I hope you are well. I hope your family's well. Most importantly, I hope your dog is well. Please do provide your pooch with a little scratch behind the ears from me, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Peace.